Hey guys, today we're talking about Final Fantasy XVI. I'll be honest, this is my first Final Fantasy game I've ever played. I've always known the series for its huge worlds, incredible music and passionate fan base, but I've never jumped in until now. And after finishing it, I can say this game has made me want to try more. The big question is it worth your time in 2025? Let's break it down. The story, the characters, the gameplay systems, the strengths, the weaknesses, and finally, my verdict. As always, my opinion is my opinion and my opinion only. If you want biased opinions, feel free to watch someone else. All of my videos don't contain spoilers, but this one does contain some light spoilers based on the footage you're watching. So let's talk about the story now. Final Fantasy XVI is a narrative-driven action RPG, and the story is the heart of the experience. Roughly 60% of your playtime will be spent in cutscenes, but they never feel like interruptions. The pacing, direction, and delivery of these scenes make them feel like little rewards, moments where you get to sit back and absorb the world and the characters before diving back into the action. The world of Final Fantasy XVI Valisthea is honestly one of the most fleshed out settings I've seen in a game. It's split into different nations, and each one feels like it actually has its own culture, history, and goals. They're all powered by these huge magical crystals called the Mother Crystals. On one hand, they make life possible and they give people the magic they need to survive, but they're also the reason for a lot of the political tension and wars that are happening. Each nation has its own dominant. It's basically one person who can summon and control the power of an Eikon, which is a massive godlike creature that can completely turn the tide of battle. What I like about this is it isn't just background lore. You actually see how these nations behave differently and how their cities are built, how the people talk to you, and how the leaders handle outsiders. Everything is tied to who they are and what they value, and it makes the world feel alive. The game also does a great job of making it easy to follow, even if this is your first Final Fantasy, like myself. Within the first hour, you know who the main characters are, what's at stake, what kind of trouble you're walking into, and if you ever get lost. There's this active time lore feature that's genius. You can pause during a cutscene and instantly pull up quick summaries of characters, places, or terms you've heard. It's super handy and keeps the story moving without breaking immersion. On to the characters. Clive is the heart of Final Fantasy XVI, and it's his story that keeps everything moving. He's not some blank state hero you project yourself onto. You actually see him grow and change as the game goes on. At first he's all about loyalty and duty, but as things go on you watch him start questioning himself, the people around him, and even what's right or wrong. That's what makes him work well and feels so believable. When he wins it feels earned, and when he loses you feel it, and the choices he makes actually carry a lot of weight. Of course, a strong lead only works if the supporting cast can keep up, and this game absolutely nails that. Sid is a perfect example, easily one of the most memorable characters I've ever seen in years. He's sharp, he's funny, and he has some of the best lines in the game. Every time he's on screen it feels like the story gets a little bit more dangerous, but also a little bit more meaningful. Then there's Jill. She's quieter, more reserved, but her connection to Clive is one of the emotional anchors of the entire story. She's not just there to fill a space, she's got her own history, her own scars, and when the game chooses to focus on her, it hits hard. I've also got to mention my personal favourite is Gav. He's not a dominant, he doesn't have these godlike powers, but he's loyal, dependable, and just feels like a normal human being. He reacts the way a normal person would, and sometimes with courage, sometimes with fear, and sometimes with just a bit of humour to break the tension. The whole cast just has this more mature, serious tone compared to some earlier Final Fantasy games that I researched. You've got themes like loyalty, betrayal, sacrifice and freedom, and different characters reflect those ideas in different ways. Some are dreamers, some are survivors, and some are just trying to hold on to what they have. This mix keeps every interaction engaging, even when the pace slows down. So let's talk about the pacing now. This game is around 40 hours long. Final Fantasy XVI has surprisingly great pacing for that length of time. There are definitely slower moments where you're just travelling or meeting new allies or just doing small side quests, but those moments actually work, they're not filler. They're building relationships, fleshing out the world, and setting the stage for big moments. And when those big moments finally hit, they hit harder because you've had all the build up. The nice thing is it never really feels like the game is wasting your time. Even when the pace slows down, it's pushing towards the bigger picture. Let's talk about combat now. This is one of the biggest reasons to play this game in my opinion. It's fast and fluid, but it still has enough weight behind it to make every hit feel like it matters. As you progress you'll unlock different Eikon abilities, and each one changes how you approach fights. Sometimes it's about chaining abilities together for huge combos, other times it's swapping mid-battle to gain the upper hand. There's a rhythm to the combat that kept me hooked all the way through. And then you've got the Eikon battles. These are on a completely different level. They're massive, over-the-top set pieces that make you feel like you're playing through an anime finale. The scale is insane, the visuals are incredible, and the best part is, they're not just eye candy. There's actual mechanical depth to them. Each fight feels unique, and they're some of the most memorable moments in the whole game. Exploration-wise, the game gives you a vibe of an open world, but it's really made up of big interconnected zones. Personally, I like this approach. You always know where you're going and you don't get lost in pointless side content. The side quests are a bit of a mixed bag. Some are basic, go here, do this kind of errands, but others have real weight, emotional beats, or bits of lore that are absolutely worth doing. Then there are the hunts, which you're watching on now, which are a blast. You track down powerful enemies, get a real challenge, and you get some really good rewards. Progression is nice and straightforward. You earn points to upgrade your Eikon abilities and unlock new combos. And the best part is you can respec whenever you want, no penalty, no fear of messing things up, just try what works for you. Gear progression is simple but satisfying. You're not drowning in random loot drops, but when you do get an upgrade it feels like it really matters. Visually, this is hands down one of the best looking games I've ever played on current gen consoles. The environments are gorgeous and varied, the attention to detail is insane, and the animations are as smooth as hell. But where it really shines is the cutscenes, the direction, the camera work, the way scenes are framed. It all feels like it's been pulled straight from a big budget film. The soundtrack is unreal. You've got sweeping orchestral scores for the emotional moments, intense battle themes when things kick off, and every single track feels like it was written specifically for that moment in the game. The voice acting is just as good. Every performance feels genuine, like you're listening to real people with real emotions, not just characters reading lines. Let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses. The strengths: incredible main character arc, world building that feels alive and connected, perfect pacing for a long story driven game, Eikon battles will stick with you long after the credits roll, combat that's stylish, impactful and flexible enough to keep things interesting, music, visuals and voice acting all operating at the highest level. The weaknesses now: the world is a lot more linear than it first appears, the heavy cutscene ratio might turn off players who just want constant gameplay, and the crafting was a really lackluster part of the game. So on to my verdict. For me, Final Fantasy is an easy 9 out of 10. It's one of the best games I've ever played. Emotionally exciting and just beautifully put together. The story hooked me, the characters stuck with me, and the combat never once got boring. If you like narrative driven action RPGs, this is a must play. So, is it worth your time? Absolutely, and because of that, this is my first game to land in S tier. So, that's my take on Final Fantasy XVI. If you've played it, let me know and what you thought down in the comments. Did it live up to the hype for you? I stream my games live on Twitch every Tuesday from 10 to 4 BST. Come along and say hi, the link is in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, a like and a subscribe goes a long way. That's all from me, bye.